Welcome back to News Talk. Coming up for you in our second half hour, scandal rocks the world of fantasy sports and why the Skins may be headed to London in 2016. Right now, though, let's get back to our conversation with, and your phone calls for, Maryland State Delegate Shane Pendergrass. We're talking about end-of-life issues. Some call it death with dignity. We just saw the bill signed in California allowing doctors to prescribe for their patients medication that would allow the patient to decide when and under what circumstance the end comes. Is this a good idea? Should states like Maryland, should D.C., should Virginia follow California's lead, Oregon's lead, Washington's lead in this area? Is this wise public policy? 703-387-1020, that's our number here. We'd love to have you join the conversation, whatever your view on this issue is. As always, we'll go to the phones. We'll leave the number on the screen so you can dial now. And we'll go to the phones, as I say, as your questions, comments, and thoughts come in. What are the most compelling reasons you've heard in testimony or from colleagues or anyway, in any form, why not to do this? Is it the notion that folks would feel pressured if they don't have insurance, if they don't have financial means to fight an illness that might have expensive surgery or medication? Is it that they might feel pressured not to be a burden prematurely? I mean, of the things you've heard that sort of push counter to your basic view on this, what are the most powerful?
I have trouble finding them powerful. What I hear when I hear people coming up with reasons to tell people how they should or shouldn't live their life when they're not hurting anyone else by their action, I hear the root of that being, my religion is uncomfortable with that, and so I think everybody should do what I think is right. That's what I hear, and that's, of course, through a filter, which is a problem, and I wish I could hear better. There are many comments that are said. They talk about slippery slope. They talk about pressure from other people. And, of course, the bill has all kinds of safeguards in it. There's a three-step process to request. I think we're going to make sure that the patient or the individual who's asking for this is alone with the doctor, just as other states have done, to try to relieve that as an issue. It may be hard to draw that fine line between where is it coming from, but I think mostly doctors know. And if a person is really suffering, do we really believe people are so vulnerable and so easily influenced that they're going to do something that they don't really want to do? I don't think so. It's a pretty onerous process to go through. What have you laid out as the process in Maryland? We heard Miriam Hernandez describe what is mandated in California before a prescription can be written. Right, and she did a very good job, and it's pretty much the same. It's three requests, an oral, a written, and then another oral, and the written request has to be approved by two doctors. Does it have to be a terminal illness? Oh yeah, 6 months is the prognosis, six months to live. So it's not like anybody can go out and say, give me medicine to die. It's, I have 6 months to live, which may or may not be exactly accurate, but there are guidelines in the medical profession that tell people what to expect. And as you can imagine, as a patient goes in and says, doctor, what are my expectations so that I can make plans? So people have some idea. What if someone is dealing with terrible pain, they've tried seemingly everything and nothing works, but they're not at that place where two medical professionals can say, we think that your expiration comes in under 6 months. Right. That's a sad place to be. This bill won't address it. And how come? This bill is only 6 months and capable of making medical decisions. Could you see us as a society moving to that place? Where the pain, where people in horrible pain can't find relief? No, I don't. And I see those people as being able to find another way to commit suicide, and that's another issue to me. To the phones, line 2, Shelley in Fredericksburg. We thank you for watching and appreciate having you in the conversation. Go ahead, Shelley.
Well, it's just my opinion. Yes. And I feel like God makes that decision. I'm sorry. And doctors are not God. And I've seen family in quite a bit of pain, terminal illness, and I've also seen suicide. You pray they need to put God first and allow him to do and make the decision. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the call very much. Don't apologize for your opinion. We thank you very much for calling in and sharing it with us today. And we'll go back to the phones. If others have positions on this issue or questions, the number 703-387-1020 gets you on the air.
And let me be clear, I have great respect for that position. And that person absolutely should be able to make that decision to put her hands in God's hands, her life in God's hands. I think that I have all the respect in the world for that, and I want her to have the freedom and the ability to do that.
The issue being...
For her.
Exactly.
Not for me, but for her.
And as a society, do we say that no one can have this option because for some it is completely the wrong option?
Well, I don't say that because everybody has the option to take a gun and blow their brains out, or drink antifreeze, or whatever else, they must slit their wrists and take a bath. I mean, you know, that's the option. If people really want to commit suicide, there are other ways to do it. This is a more comfortable way for a family to be together, to make a decision together. An optimum death, I would think, would be to have your family around you. You're not going to blow your brains out with your family around you.
What is the medication that a doctor would prescribe if this legislation goes forward? Or what are they using in California?
I think they use some kind of barbiturates. And I'm not a doctor, so I can't answer that. But I know that you have to take the medicine and put it into some kind of a sweet liquid and drink it.
Have you spoken with Governor Hogan about this?
I have not. This is maybe not the best time to talk to Governor Hogan about this. You know, he's going through cancer treatment himself, and he's doing a fantastic job of being brave and working within the community of people who are going through this together. And this has just got to be a terribly hard time for him. And when he's ready to talk about it, I'm sure he will talk about it with me. But I think now is not the time. I think right now is the time for him to get well.
And he's become a national leader in the area of fighting against cancer. He's under treatment. Things seem to be going great.
And you know, the great thing about this is if you get the prescription and you still want to fight to stay alive, as long as you're not enrolled in hospice, you can still get curative care. You can still hope. You can still do everything possible that's out there. That's your option. This is just one more option.
Do you think the Maryland legislature will vote on this in 2016?
I can't predict. I think so, but I can't predict.
The support of the Speaker is significant.
It is. It is indeed. The Speaker is very well respected, not just by me, but by the rest of us. That's why we elect him to be the Speaker.
Are there issues out there looming as the big issues of 2016? Are there things on the radar already that...
Yeah, I never predict what's the big issue because I'm always surprised. Every year after 21 years, I'm still surprised every year. But I will say that the budget is always a big issue. It was last year with divided government, a Republican governor and a Democrat legislature. It becomes more of an issue because there's a difference in philosophies. So I'm sure the budget, as it was last year, will be a big issue. But there will be something else that will come along and surprise us.
There always is, right?
Yeah.
Delegate Shane Pendergrass represents Howard County in the Maryland House of Delegates. Thank you very much for being with us today.
It was a pleasure.
We thank you very much for your time. We'll be talking with you again, I am certain. An update for you on the hour's top stories, and we'll get the Friday forecast as well. It's all coming straight ahead. And then Scandal rocks the multi-billion-dollar world of fantasy sports.